Thanks for checking out this archived episode of the Ticket Stub. Connor here, one of the hosts of the show. I'm doing this while Dick is away. Guys, I know that y'all love the show, but I know that he is the worst part. I'm trying to find another co-host, so if any of y'all have any ideas, please let me know. But in the meantime, go ahead and subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, all at the Ticket Stub Podcast. You can send us an email at theticketstubpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook at the Ticket Stub. And be sure to listen live every Thursday on irlonestar.com or FM 104.5 and 106.1 in the Conroe area. Thanks and enjoy the show.
You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Welcome, everybody, to the Ticket Stub. Connor and Dick here. Episode 4, Dick. I thought they'd cancel us by now.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I guess when you own the station,
I know a guy.
You can keep us on for at least...
That's one thing I can't wait is we have the conversation, Connor, where you're like, you're really bringing down the show, Dick. And I mean, I know your connection, but we're going to have a new host.
Yeah, Dick, the show and you are going in opposite directions, okay? That's how...
Well, you can definitely tell when I've been really busy.
Yeah.
Because I don't really bring much to the table. And then when you tell when I do bring some stuff to the table, I did find some time to watch some delicious movies.
Yeah, well, I can't wait for that week when you bring something to the table.
Yeah,
that's going to really be
coming.
That's going to be a treat.
I did see the IP Man, so we'll talk about that.
Okay.
That was cool. But the festival was this weekend, the Conroe Americana Music Festival, and we were here doing that. Actually, I just came back from an appreciation lunch. I should have brought something back for Jake. I'll go get you something after this, Jake. And maybe you too, Connor.
You've been promising me lunch for like 3 weeks now.
Yeah, by the way, producer Jake is here again. Let's not wait until halfway through the show to ID him.
Yeah.
Glad to have Jake with us again this week. It's better when Dick can focus fully on what's going on and not have to mess with
everything.
Producing the show while we're going. So the Americana Festival was good?
Yeah, man, it was very busy. I encourage everyone to get tickets for next year because $75 seemed like a lot of money, but after you saw the whole thing put together with the 50-plus bands and the venue, like everything was like a block and a half away from each other. So every venue you went to is a block and a half. So it wasn't really a long walk. And then the beer was really good, and then the music was very, very good. So next year,
yeah. Well, I missed it.
Maybe we should do a movie festival.
Ooh, me and you.
Just you and me.
Just you and me.
That's it.
It'll just be at my house, and we'll just watch a couple movies and call it a festival. That'll be the first annual, and then it'll blow up.
Oh, you know what's funny is the last major festival, like I went to go see Lord of the Rings extended versions in Austin in one day. And it was like Alamo, I think it was Alamo Draft House. And I got to the point where I was so extended by the last movie. I couldn't drink anymore. I was trying to get drunk because I was like, all right, let's speed this up. And it didn't work. And I was like, I just don't want to be here anymore. But I watched all 3 movies in one sitting. So
yeah, I did something kind of similar where it was I guess it wasn't as bad. It was one of the Batmans when it came out. And I watched I watched 3 in a row. Now those aren't as long as the extended Lord of the Rings, but those aren't short movies. And when you watch them back to back to back, it was killer. I was kind of dying by the end. But anyways, we've got a great show coming up. We got a lot to talk about. Dick, I did my research this week, and so
I'm excited.
I'm excited. I think it's gonna pay off in a huge way. All right, and
okay.
so
what do you want to kick off with?
Let's kick off. First off, let's just talk. So we're going to rewind, talk about some of the movies that we saw from this last week. And I've got a couple. I think you've got one. A little later on in the show, we're going to talk about this month in history. We're going to roll the clocks back 20 years and talk about some movies that came out in
looking forward to that.
May 1997. There is some. It's funny when you look at like a month. 3 pretty big movies came out May 1997.
I want to say that was still the standard on television was standard def. Where it was the box, it was a letter box. So when you put a movie on TV, it was in the box form. It had the black bars on the side.
You know, you're probably I'm not sure
that was
about
around that time.
Okay, they're still going in
4x3 DVDs.
Yeah, man, things have really changed since then.
Yeah,
and then we'll end the show. We'll talk a little bit about our summer blockbuster competition. We've got a interview coming up next week that I'll tell you about a little bit later on in the show. And we'll talk about what's in our queue. But Dick, before we go too far, I think you had a couple things that you've run across this week that you were wanting to talk about.
Well, I mean, I think there are a lot of good trailers came out. One thing I was really excited about and worried about at the same time. I don't know if you've ever seen Blade Runner, but Blade Runner is really a really great atmosphere movie.
Yeah.
And I enjoy watching that movie at all times, but it's one of those you got to tell everyone to shut the heck up because it's like you got to get in it. and they released the trailer, another trailer for it, and it looks really good.
Does it really?
Harrison Ford doesn't look very good, but
is he starring in it?
Oh no, he's not starring in it.
Oh.
It's Ryan Gosling is the main character,
Okay.
but Jared Leto is in it, and I think he's the bad guy from the trailer. And then they didn't really ruin too much. Trailers today, they ruin like the whole movie, especially if it's like a chick flick or if it's one of those simple drama movies. They ruin everything in the whole movie, or comedy. They ruin everything. Like the new Baywatch trailer came out, and the thing people were asking about is they used to have this unattractive guy in it because the whole cast is attractive, and they had that one unattractive guy. He wasn't even really even in the trailer. So people were like, "Oh, did they edit him out because he was just ugly?"
They cut him. Only hot people allowed. Yeah, and what normally happens is a lot of times that little teaser trailer they release first, it won't almost tell much. But by the time the movie comes out, they've released like 4 or 5 trailers, and you can almost get the whole plot of the movie by the time. And so I try to stay away from them as much as possible because I do like to go in. I like to know the basic plot so I know what I'm getting myself into, but I don't want to know everything that's going to unfold.
When it comes to big, it's kind of weird. Like the bigger movies, like Star Wars and the big like Guardians of the Galaxy, it's almost like they don't have to worry too much about telling you too much because they know people are going to go see it. Yeah. So it's just like, let's just give them a little sneak peek. And so like when the Star Wars trailer came out, it didn't look too bad. It got me wanting to go see it, and this trailer made me want to go see it too. So and then also we have the big movie's opening this weekend. Is it The Last Night, or is it what's it called? What's it officially called?
King Arthur, Legend of the Sword.
Okay, yeah, Guy Ritchie's movie. And I was telling you, I heard he was on a podcast, on Joe Rogan's podcast, and they talked a little bit about the movie. And then I go to Rotten Tomatoes, and it's not doing well. So I'm interested to see the movie because he seemed very proud of it. So
yeah, it's funny, like these directors who, and some of it, depending on your role in the movie, like if you're the writer or the director or the editor, like you can't always control the final product, but like how do you react when a movie that you've spent the last year on, it's just like
this is
butchered?
I wish you heard. You heard the podcast, because basically they were talking about the conditions in Hollywood, like how they make the movie, the struggle, all this stuff, and then all of a sudden Joe goes, "Well, how about you? Did you have to face those things?" No, I could do whatever I wanted with this movie.
That's what Guy Ritchie said.
He's sitting there talking about, to make a movie is different from making a movie last year because of the budgets and what people expect and things like that, and all these things that are affecting the art craft.
Unless your name is Guy Ritchie.
Unless your guy, I was like, did he just say, "Oh, I just didn't have anything. I could just do what I wanted. I had a limited budget. I'm like, come on, man.
I think there's like 15 guys in Hollywood that doesn't apply to,
and like
at all.
one girl.
And one girl, yeah.
And that's if the bosses are having a good day.
That's because they have to have like Sofia Coppola or whatever. She has to be like the grandfathered in, so there's at least one female. Or what's the Zero Dark 30, Catherine Bigelow. Yeah, she's kind of one of the ones right now that can write her own ticket. But yeah, I do think for upcoming directors, it's really tough, especially those middle movies, and where it's like if you're indie and you make it kind of on your own. You got
to find your audience almost.
Yeah,
and it's just because basically what his argument is there's only now every week is up for grabs. And if your movie is up against one of these blockbuster movies, like we talked about the summer blockbuster, every week pretty much a big movie's coming out. It's like $100 million to make.
Yeah.
So you can't release any other movie during this time if you're trying to make it as like a breakout. That's why that Get Out movie did so well, because nothing was coming out like 3 weeks prior and 3 weeks afterwards, because it was right after the Oscars.
Yeah,
so nobody was releasing anything.
It had a chance to actually find an audience and not get overshadowed, because that is one of the big things. Yeah. It's like a big movie comes out and it may hit big opening weekend, but it's almost like it doesn't have time to find that audience because the next weekend it's already
What do you think word of mouth works out?
Sometimes.
I think Get Out, that's why I was successful. Everyone's like, man, this movie's really good.
I think Get Out. Deadpool, I think, was a great example of that. I definitely think that movie picked up steam as people saw it. I think more people went to see it. But I do think sometimes there's just too much. There's just too much out there, and especially now that there's things being released, Netflix originals, Amazon originals. It's like, how much time do you really have? So I think that's why marketing, like we'll talk Guardians later. I think they did a good job marketing, but that stuff's important for hit big early, because I think the longer, obviously the more time that goes.
Well, that podcast again, not Joe Rogan with Guy Ritchie, they talked about is Guy goes, they know how good your movie's going to be on that Thursday. They have the computers to tell you. Like for example, his movie is releasing tonight, and the computer's algorithm tells him how good it's going to do.
Oh, like the opening?
Yeah.
Like how much money it's going to make?
Yeah.
I wonder how accurate that is. That'd be interesting.
I can imagine there's inconsistencies like Deadpool and Get Out and stuff like that. But that's why they gave that guy who made Get Out they gave him a contract to make a couple more movies. So
he's got a trailer out already for his next one.
Yeah. So I mean that's pretty impressive.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we gotta take a break. Jake, break us, man. Break me, Jake. You are listening to
the Ticket Stub with Connor and Dick.
So stick around. We'll be back. We're going to talk a little bit about movies I watched and you watched, and also what's available on streaming and things like that. So it's our rewind since our last show. And this is Dick.
Connor.
See you in a bit.
A Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show, with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Shall we begin?
All right, we're back. Sorry about the little hiccup at the end of last
people
segment.
just walk in here. We are a community radio station, so our door's always open. Not always open. But
just like our hearts, the door is always open. But please don't walk in when we're in the middle of recording.
If you make a movie with Nicolas Cage, my heart is open for you.
You've got see it. Your heart has a limited.
I sent you my Nick Dar.
Yeah,
our Cage Dar went off.
If you want to get on our Facebook page, Ticket Stub Podcast on Facebook, you can look at the thing that Dick posted, which is a link to the new upcoming Nicolas Cage movie.
Yeah,
which I watched. And
you watched Trust?
I watched the trailer. I watched what you posted.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't watch the movie, but I'm hoping that you'll watch it at some point and tell me about it.
It's already on my queue, man.
Oh, good. All right.
He has a mustache.
So glorious.
And puts Elijah Woods in it. Is that what I posted? I don't know. I mean,
it was the.
Let me make sure.
Here, I got it right here. Inconceivable is what it was called.
Is he hurting for money?
That trailer. That movie's actually coming out. That's actually a legitimate movie. They have a release date in the theaters and stuff like that for that movie.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say I thought it was already out, but I thought it was not out, but I was just going with it because I'm a yes man.
Well, there's another movie out that's with Elijah Wood that's on Netflix called The Trust.
Ooh.
And just to give you a synopsis, it's discovering the location of a vault where a drug ring keeps its riches. Two run-of-the-mill Las Vegas cops hatch a dicey plan to burgle it. So that's the movie right there.
And I'm sure everything goes according to their plan.
That's an hour and 31 minutes, 2015. It's going to be fantastic.
All right, cool. Well, we're going to hop right into our rewind segment here. This is where we've talked about some movies the week before, and we have now seen them, and we are ready to talk. So, Dick, I've got two movies. I think you have one movie that we're going to rewind here. I'll start. We'll do a little movie sandwich here. I'll go, you go, I go.
Yeah, sure.
All right, perfect. Well, I'm going to start it off. A movie I talked about that I assigned myself as homework for last week. That is the movie Sing Street.
Okay.
Sing Street. It is streaming on Netflix. 2016, PG-13, hour and 46 minutes. All right, directed by a guy named John Carney. No, he has not directed a whole lot of stuff. Movie in 2013 called Begin Again with Mark Ruffalo. I did not see Begin Again, but I heard about it. I remember that.
I think it has something to do with music too, didn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal.
Constant theme with that.
Yeah, this Sing Street is kind of autobiographical. Not totally, but at least a little bit for John Carney. The movie's set in Dublin, which is where John Carney came from, and it was set in the 80s, which is when Carney was kind of growing up and coming of age. As far as actors, not a lot of people you've ever heard of. Really, the only one I recognized was Aidan Gillen, who is Littlefinger from Game of Thrones, for anybody that watches that show. And he's only in it, like, he's kind of a support character. He's definitely not, he's the main character's father. So the plot basically goes like this. Connor, so I like it already, right? Connor is an Irish kid. He's in a private school, kind of a hoity-toity private school. He gets moved to a rougher public school because of his family's financial situations. He meets a pretty girl on the side of the road walking home. He wants to impress her, so he invites her to be in the music video for his band. See, 80s rock, futurist rock was huge, like Duran Duran and Aha and all those kind of things. The only problem is that he doesn't have a band. So he tells this hot chick, I mean, I don't know if we've all been in this situation before.
I always lie to the girl. That's how I meet all the girls.
Exactly. You start with lies and then you slowly introduce the truth over time. But he tells her he's in a band. He's not. So he goes to all his friends and he's like, hey, we need to make a band. and he names it Sing Street, which is the name of his school that he attends, which I think is a pretty cool name for a band. And so then it kind of goes from there as the band actually kind of becomes legitimate and grows, and it's kind of a coming of age tale of this guy as he finds his confidence, finds his place in the world, and everything like that. So I'll tell you a couple things I liked. The kids in the movie are great. All the actors, there's all these kids I've never seen, never heard of. They're funny. They've got great personalities. I think they do a great job.
Is that because they have a Scottish accent?
Yeah, Irish. Yeah.
Is it Irish?
Yeah, Dublin, Ireland, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, we can get the geography pulled up, but I'm pretty sure Dublin's Ireland. But yeah, that helps because I think everyone with accent sounds better than us. I don't know. That's just my thing. But the music video scenes, they filmed several music videos, and the first one is hilarious.
Well, the trailer reminded me when I saw those things. It reminded me of like Be Kind, Rewind. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie where they take little snippets of movies, they remake them, but they change the way it looks on the screen.
Yeah.
So it takes you out of the movie and puts you into like what I would be watching if I put a VHS tape in.
They 100% do that. And I think it's hilarious because like they're not good at making videos, but the band really develops over time. There's a great quote from Connor's brother he's a primary character of some sort, but he's talking to his little brother and he says, "No woman could truly love a man who listens to Phil Collins." I thought that was pretty funny because the brother's he's educating his younger brother about what good music is. Unfortunately for the older brother, Duran Duran is his idea of good music, so that's where I kind of part ways.
Hey, the movie takes place in the late 80s, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a period piece for sure in that time. And probably my biggest beef with the movie is that I just don't like that era of time and really music for the most part.
Yeah. That's blasphemy for some people.
Man, 80s music, the soundtrack to this was pretty good and a lot of original songs, which I liked, but I don't love like Aha and Duran Duran and all that, whatever all the other ones are from that time period. That doesn't sound like real music to me.
Do you ever wonder why a lot of people don't like you?
Oh, there's many reasons why people don't like me, but that might be one. And then the other thing is that there's some great themes of like brotherhood that kind of come out.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty cool. Definitely would recommend it. I think it's been really overlooked by people. I mean, it's a pretty small budget movie, but the soundtrack's good. And I don't know, I'd say that it's got a lot of heart. The relationships between the band, the guy and the girl, the brothers. It's a lot of really cool storylines there, and I think it does a good job.
Well, for an hour and 40 minutes, that's one thing that's like kind of a long runtime for not a known director.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I'm always down for anything under 2 hours, though. And once it hits the 2 hour mark, I instantly in my mind.
Certain movies can make you forget that. Too.
Well, that's true.
So, like Rogue One kind of made me forget that.
Yeah, and some don't make you forget that. So anyway, Sing Street, I would say look it up on Netflix. Definitely would be worth your time if you're looking for kind of a sweet movie. Not action at all, but it's a good character-driven story.
Yeah, when I read about it, basically people were saying you end up buying the soundtrack.
Yeah,
people ought to do.
For people, you would love it.
Yeah. Well, I saw the Yip Man. That's IP Man. Yip. That's what his name is Yip. And let me tell you something. I had no idea what this movie was about. I knew it was a foreign karate film. And from what I understood and remembered a little bit, the Yip Man was based off of a man.
Are you saying Yip?
Yip. That's how they pronounce it. That's
not
how I found
Yip
it.
Or
yeah,
IP?
YIP. Yip. That's how they're telling me how to say it. But he trained Bruce Lee. That's how.
So this is a true story.
Based off a true story. And this takes place in the 30s. And I didn't expect that. And it was like, of course, when I started the movie, it's on Netflix, it was all dubbed in English. And I was like, no, we can't do that. Because when you watch dubbed Chinese films, it gets too stereotypical of like the mouths keep moving and stuff. So I had to change it back. So I went to the full language with subtitles, and it increased the movie 10 times. So do that. And the karate, what's really cool about it is I've watched a lot of action films, and this has a little bit of that Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon feel to it, but the force of the hits feel more realistic. They actually show the foot going into the person's face, not like graphic, not like the Matrix or anything like that, but you can actually see them kick each other, which is kind of cool. But then they also had that ridiculous, like, the chain gun hitting fist, yeah, like that. But you see him like at one point he's hitting the guy's face like that, and it looked really good. But the story of this Yip Man was really interesting. I can't tell if it's a real story because it's based off of him, like what he did and how he trained people and how legendary he was as a kung fu master or a Chinese martial art master. Because I didn't know the timeline, what happened in China, but all of a sudden the movie's going around. Basically, it's your standard. This town's really known for karate people, and so there's karate masters had different training schools. But everyone liked the Yip Man, but he didn't train anybody. He was just like the best. And they open the movie up with a cool, like, this guy goes around challenging everybody, challenging the masters because he's an out-of-towner. And, of course, the Yip Man beats him because he's the last one around that has not been beaten.
He's the best.
So he's the best. But then the movie becomes a time period movie where the Japan invade.
Oh.
And so everything goes completely opposite what I was experiencing. And, like, you see what the Japanese did to the area. They forced people to fight. And Yip Man is sought after by the Japanese because the Japanese general wants him to teach their soldiers
Karate.
So they had a final fight, and it was really great. And I think overall, again, I don't know if it was a real movie, but it had a lot of good elements to a good story. Okay. And so there's love, there's a family, there's honor, and then there's people getting hit in the face a lot. So
is this a newer movie or older movie?
It was, I believe it was made in 2005, but I was probably wrong about that. It's probably more close to, I'm looking up right now, 2008.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a time period movie while having very entertaining. The whole storyline kept flowing. There really wasn't a downtime. And then, of course, at the end, when they say it was based off a true story of, like, what this guy's journey. So there's 3 movies total, I find out.
Oh, wow.
And it's about his journey from, this is the beginning. Then apparently in the next movie, he goes to Hong Kong and opens up a training. And then that's where he meets Bruce Lee and he starts training Bruce Lee. And then the third, it's like kind of the closing of his story because apparently he's really well known. And the main actor is really good. His name's Donnie Yen. He was in Rogue One.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And he played the blind monk, I guess you'd say that he was in that movie.
Force is in me, and I am in the Force.
Yes, that guy, exactly that guy. And then he was in Return of Xander Cage, Triple X, the movie that came out not too long ago.
That's actually, sadly, that's what I first was thinking of when you said his name. That's how bad my mind is for movies.
And he was in Blade 2.
Okay.
And so he's just a good martial artist. The whole movie was if you like martial art movies, it's a really cool movie to check out. A lot of it's not too unbelievable because sometimes I think a lot of martial arts movies just go to the next level.
You know that based on a true story is like the most broad.
Yeah.
That can be.
I mean, I think the true
The
story
Matrix was based on a
he
true
opened
story.
up a karate facility and he taught, and he's one of the most renowned martial artists. So, but he taught Bruce Lee. I think that's a true story. Like that's where Bruce Lee learned all of his moves from.
Well, there you go. Inspired. That's even more. When it's inspired by a true story, at that point, it's like, why even say that? Because every story could be inspired by a true story. But all right, so Yip Man.
Totally recommend. Check it out. It's not too long of a movie too, so you can enjoy it that way.
All right, and then the other movie that I'll talk about, Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't want to tell too much about this
because
it's still in theaters. It's brand new, but it's out right now. PG-13, 2 hours and 16 minutes. Directed by James Gunn. He hasn't done a ton of. He did the first Guardians movie, which is his claim to fame at this point. He also did a little bit of that movie 43. I don't know if you saw that. It was like a weird kind of. It was like sketches almost that made up a movie. Anyways, I would not tell you to watch that movie.
Well, is it weird that have you noticed in a lot of the comic book movies that they've been giving directors who are like no names and they just give them the movie and then all those turn out really well?
Yeah, no, definitely they give shots to these guys and then I guess they're it's like a farm system where they're pulling the talent up, and so far they've done pretty well.
Oh, well, you know why I think this guy got chosen? Because he wrote Scooby-Doo.
Well, there you go.
That's probably it. That was probably it. He also wrote Dawn of the Dead too.
Okay, yeah.
So there's
he definitely has written more than he's directed. But as far as it's Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Michael Rooker, Kurt Russell actually comes into this one. So basically, the gang gets back together. The kind of the plot line is that Rocket Raccoon steals from this race called the Sovereigns. They're trying to kill. So the Sovereigns are trying to get revenge on the Guardians. Meanwhile, they run into Kurt Russell, who is a demigod who claims to be Peter Quill's father. And the movie unfolds. We find out that whoa. I don't
want to find out anything.
I was going to say there may be more than we first see. Than it seems with this whole situation. And the Guardians end up getting put in a situation where things are going pretty crazy, and they're going to have to, do their Guardian
So would
thing.
you go see it again, or would you recommend the theater, or would you recommend waiting?
Definitely. So I think that what I liked about this, it was more of the same. It was funny. It broke up the action with those funny little moments like the first one did. Bautista's hilarious. He's just, this may be the only thing he's ever good in, but he's great in the Guardians movies. But what I didn't like, and this may be an unfair criticism, but it's almost like the first one was so good that this one was still good, but it feels like a letdown. Even though it is good, you're comparing it to that first one, which was so good. And I just think it leaves a little bit to be desired. If this stood on its own, people would be saying, this is a great movie. But because we have the first one in our minds when we go to it, I think it affects how it's perceived a little bit. But still, I would say you need to see it because it's fun.
Maybe it's a
fun.
strategy to let you down a little, so when the third one comes out, it could be compared as better than the second.
Maybe so. They already know the third one's going to be weak, so they're trying to bridge the gap. But definitely go see it. It's a summer blockbuster. It's the movie people are going to be talking about if they're not already. It's funny. It'll live on for a while, and so go check it out.
Well, Baptiste is in the new Blade Runner.
Oh, he's so.
I saw him for a second, and I was like, "Oh, that guy."
He's so good in Guardians. But anyways, okay, so that's our rewinds. Those are the movies.
Good movies, man.
Yeah, good. Hey, solid segment there, Dick.
I'm excited about the next week because I got The Trust. I'm gonna watch The Trust, and then Manchester by the Sea came out on Amazon.
There you
finally.
go.
So I finally get to see it. Our intern Jake's shaking his head.
I liked Manchester by the Sea.
So I'm excited about watching it because it's depressing. I love depressing movies. I watch them all the time.
Intern Jake's he's not cultured, so he can't appreciate Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah, I want to check out that movie. So there's 2 movies. I'm gonna try to see at least one. But outside that,
all right. Well, cool. Well, coming up in the next segment, we're gonna flash back to 1997.
Yeah,
and do a little this month in history to look at 3 movies that came out in May 1997. So tune back in.
How old are you in 1997?
9.
Really?
No, yeah,
I think I was
9.
13. I don't know.
Jake was 3.
Dang.
All right. Be back with the Ticket Stub.
A Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question or comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station at irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
Welcome back. Segment 3, the Ticket Stub. If you're following our Facebook page closely, as I'm sure you all are, hoping for updates, Dick just gave us one.
Yeah, I just put the trailer to The Trust with Elijah Wood and Nicolas Cage. Definitely going to check that out on Netflix.
I see that glorious mustache now.
And yeah.
Yeah, wow. Okay, if I have some time, I want to watch that because for me, a little Nicolas Cage goes a long way. But it's been a while since I've had, I've been watching really actually good movies for this show.
He's a good actor.
Well, not really.
I think he's great.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much every movie he's been in, I've enjoyed.
Well, that's different than being a good actor.
I think it's kind of the whole story, right? The whole encompasses what makes a good movie. A good actor does. So
that's true. Sometimes we can do like an either or opinion on Nicolas Cage, good actor or not. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to look a little bit about this month in history, rolling the calendar back to 1997 when producer Jake was 3 years old. And we're going to look at 3 movies that came out in May 1997, ones that I would be surprised if people listening, I'd be surprised if they hadn't seen at least one of these 3 because they're all pretty big. They're all ones that have lived on cable and streaming services, things like that. And they're ones that I feel like are kind of in the zeitgeist. They're kind of out there. People know about these movies. And even if they don't know, quotes or parts of these movies have lived on, with maybe one being the lesser known of the 3. But the first one we're going to talk about, a little movie called Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
Okay.
Yeah, baby.
That movie was really good.
All right, next movie. All right, moving on. That was really good.
Well, what's funny? It was funny about Mike Myers. You read a little bit about him as a person putting all that because if you put his movies in a library, all of his movies are really good. I mean, I saw The Guru finally.
I did not see The Guru,
and it was very entertaining, that's for sure. But it did not have the charm and the flexibility as Austin Powers, because Austin Powers really had a good groundwork to work on because it basically makes fun of all the spy movies from James Bond and stuff. So the jokes were just they make themselves almost.
Yeah, my guess is that Mike Myers is a really, really strange guy and maybe doesn't want to be like mega famous, because I think he could have been if he I mean, he got famous, but I think he could have rolled that into many, many, many more movies than he ended up doing. And so my only guess is that he maybe didn't really want to. He made several of these Austin Power movies, and he's made a couple others. But anyways, this came out in May 2nd, 1997, PG-13, hour and a half. Directed by a guy named Jay Roach, who did the other Powers movies. He also did all the Fokker, Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers, all those movies. So he's been a long-time comedy director. But it was starring Mike Myers, Elizabeth Hurley, Seth Green, who's one of my favorite parts of all the Austin Powers movies, playing the role of Scott, Dr. Evil's son. Basically, the plot is that Austin Powers is a spy from the 60s. Arch nemesis Dr. Evil freezes himself to escape being captured. And Powers also gets frozen to await Dr. Evil's return. When he's thawed in the 90s, Powers' 60s mentality does not fit very well with the present. He's still kind of living in the past, but the ladies love him. He's a bit of an idiot, but somehow he is a master spy. Definitely playing off that James Bond type where he can kind of do anything, and the ladies just like fall over him. Notorious for his chest hair.
His mojo.
His mojo. Yeah. See, all these quotes. Yeah, baby, my mojo. I've lost my mojo, right?
Yeah.
But I love his hair. It's just like his chest hair. It's like they glued like a bathroom rug.
A bear.
Yeah.
They glued a bear onto his chest.
They glued like the kind of stuff you'd buy at Hobby Lobby, like to make a craft or something like that, is just glued onto his chest. Things I remember about this movie. I remember it being so funny. He plays Austin Powers and Dr. Evil. I think the Dr. Evil is the standout character, right? I mean, Austin Powers is great, but the Dr. Evil moments are hilarious. There's quotes, groovy, $1 million, and then anyways, Seth Green, great.
They really had a good lineup in the cast. And the movie actually legitimately had a little plot to it, so it was just you're curious to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah, for sure. And I need to rewatch this. It's been too long since, I was making this, as I was kind of researching about this, I was thinking I've got to rewatch Austin Powers. What I do remember, I think it's PG-13, and I think that they get their money's worth out of that PG-13. Am I right on that, or I don't really remember?
Well, it basically walks the line. Okay. I would say,
yeah,
because all the innuendos and stuff. It's just
like they never say it explicitly.
Yeah,
but like they substitute words that might sound like other words and things like that.
Well, one thing that's interesting too is it only costs $16.5 million.
Really?
So yeah,
I guess when he plays the two main characters, you only have to pay him one time. Maybe.
I wonder how that would work.
Do you get paid for each persona?
But he also produced it too, so I guess he had some word to say whatever he gets paid anyway.
Yeah, because if that's the case, then what's his name from Split needs to get paid like 16 times for all of each personality. He brought something different to each role.
It made $67 million in the box office. So.
Really? Well, no wonder they let him make another one.
Yeah.
A little $50 million profit's nothing to laugh at, especially for I guess that's kind of a small movie. It feels really big looking back. As far as just the place that it holds in kind of the mind of movie history, I guess. But that's a pretty small movie to have been so successful. And it paved the way for two other movies that followed. And just the character, I think, really lives on. In fact,
I'm surprised they haven't made another one.
Brought it back.
Have they announced it yet? There's always sequels today.
I've never heard anything. And again, I think it must go back to Mike Myers. I think maybe he just doesn't want to. But then even just the pinky on the lip, Dr. Evil's little signature, like his evil thing, his cat, Mr. Bigglesworth.
Mike Myers hasn't done anything in a while, though. I mean, what was the last thing he was in?
I think The Guru.
I think The Guru was the last Mike Myers comedy.
Because he did SNL for a while too, but yeah, I don't think he's done anything really.
And The Guru probably was. I mean, I'm just making this up, but it was probably 2010 or something like. I mean, it feels like it was, at least that long ago, for The Guru. But. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, Austin Powers. If you haven't seen Austin Powers, then you must push pause and no, I'm not gonna say that. Wait till the show ends and then go watch it.
We also did Shrek too. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah, he did Shrek. That's right. He did.
He's in a 2000 movie called Terminal.
Was that the Tom Hanks movie?
No, it's coming out. And it has
it's upcoming.
Margot Robbie, Simon Pegg, and then Mike Myers.
Okay, well that's a big cast. So that's probably gonna be a big movie. Well, anyways, love Mike Myers. Love to see him continue to be in movies because he's hilarious. So, any other thoughts about Austin Powers, Dick?
No, I think it's good.
All right, next movie, May 9th, 1997, The Fifth Element.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Fifth Element?
The guy's coming out with another movie.
Okay, so what's
coming out of
Luc Besson?
Yeah, Luc Besson.
Luc Besson. He's not from America because he spells Luc L-U-C. Which is that's what we call a tell. All right, Luc Besson. No, he's written more than he's directed, but he wrote all the Taken movies. He wrote all the Transporter movies. I think that's kind of his genre, that action flick.
Yeah, he's doing the Valerian, Valerian in the city of the city of 1,000.
Oh, that's going to be a big movie. Okay,
yeah. That's what people are trying to say. It's going to be very similar art style and everything to The Fifth Element, but with updated graphics.
Well, I'm excited then because I'll tell you, The Fifth Element. PG-13, 2 hours and 6 minutes. Bruce Willis, Gary Oldman, Mila Jovovich. When I first saw this movie, I did not like it, but I was probably young, maybe too young. I mean, it came out in 97.
Ruby Rod.
Yeah. Okay. Chris Tucker plays Ruby Red, and maybe is the best part of the whole thing. Ruby Red is like a gender. I don't even know if he or she is gay or straight. I don't think it matters. It's the future. That stuff. You know, we've moved well beyond all of those things by the time this movie comes around.
He's never know.
Yeah, seriously, he's a radio DJ, but his microphone is like his staff. Like
wherever it goes,
you know, like
you're on the air.
His pimp cane has like a ruby on the end of it, and he points it in people's face, and then they'll like talk, and he's on the radio 24/7, I guess. But you know, Chris Tucker has this little, hey man, hey Corbin Dallas, hey Corbin, and that's how he talks the whole time. But he's hilarious.
Well, why do you think movies like this get ingrained with people? Because I know everyone who I've ever heard him talk about The Fifth Element, they never hated it. No one's ever really hated The Fifth Element. And The Fifth Element also is kind of a surprise, mainly because of Bruce Willis being in it, and it's not a typical Bruce Willis movie.
It's weird.
And I don't even feel like Bruce Willis is in it. And it's like he is Corbin Dallas in that movie. And it's the whole movie goes over so well with everybody that
it's super weird. Basically, he's like a taxi driver, down on his luck, runs into this mysterious girl who turns out to be the fifth element. And anyways, they kind of get in this
story's
plot.
Interesting. It has a fantasy element to it. Luke Perry's in the very beginning for like 2 minutes, and then he gets killed. So it's great. There's like a big known star that dies in the very, 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 very beginning.
As far as this movie, you have to be open to an out of the box sci-fi movie. If you're not open to that, then don't watch The Fifth Element. But if you are, or if you go into it knowing it's going to be that, I think you'll enjoy it because it's interesting. And Gary Oldman, I think, is great. And Bruce Willis does a good job. It's kind of an introduction to who Mila Jovovich is. But anyways, so then we're going to move to the third movie, May 22nd, 1997, The Lost World, the sequel to Jurassic Park. It's available on iTunes, PG-13, a little bit over 2 hours, directed by a guy named Steven Spielberg. He hasn't really done much else besides this movie, except for every movie ever that's been made in Hollywood. But the cast, Jeff Goldblum, Julianne Moore, Vince Vaughn is in this one. Anyways, little did we know, there's a second island, Dick.
Yeah, Island B. Really creative.
B.
Really creative.
They're like, that's one of those things where like they just called it that. And they're like, oh, we'll think of a name later. And then they're like, oh, wait, we never thought of a name. I guess it's Island B. And so,
well, I remember when Jurassic Park came out, and my mother reads a lot of I think it's Michael Crichton who wrote it. I might be wrong about
Correct.
that.
No, you're right.
But she reads a lot of books, and that she was really excited to see it, and it was a wonderful movie. And then I remember her leaving. She's like, I wonder what they're going to do with the second one. And I was like, there's a sequel to this? And
yeah, so basically it's kind of the same movie except for it not being a whole park. It's like a smaller group of people, and they're trying to like exploit the dinosaurs to make up for all the financial losses they had when the island murdered everyone. And you know, Jeff Goldblum stands on the side of nature and says, no, you shouldn't exploit the dinosaurs. And everything is kind of this back and forth with the two groups of people. And eventually the dinosaurs.
Has a good cast in it too, by the way.
It really does.
Some returning, some not.
The dinosaurs kind of go crazy and start eating people, as is known to happen in Jurassic Park movies. And I think it's like the first one. They kind of ramp it up a little bit. It's got some of the tropes from the other ones. Raptors in the field, the water shaking as the dinosaurs walk, you know, some of the stuff that we expect from a Jurassic Park movie. In my mind, this movie's kind of forgettable, if I'm being totally honest. It's hard for me to remember.
Well, you're forgetting Vince Vaughn's in it. I think that was one of Vince Vaughn's.
I said Vince Vaughn.
Well, that was one of his first big movies, I think. He was a blockbuster wise.
Yeah, that's probably true. This is, you know, one of the ones where it probably kind of put him on the big screen in front of a lot of people. But I think, you know, for me, it was hard to remember this movie outside of the first one. I had to really kind of do some research to even start to remember the plot. So this is one.
I just remember the beginning when the little girl gets ripped apart.
Yeah.
I remember that.
They showed every gory. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, the family washes ashore on their yacht trip. And the little girl's like, oh, hey, look at this island. And
little baby dinosaurs. You have a little baby girl.
Yeah. Anyways, pretty.
Now, are we gonna do June by any chance?
We can,
because
I just made this segment
Nicolas Cage came out with 2 movies.
So no, we're not doing June.
Can you imagine having 2 Nicolas Cage movies, Face Off and Con Air, in 1 month?
That was the same month. Those movies came out the same month. We may have to do June then, because those are actually legit movies. That unlike the ones that you've been talking about this whole show, The Trust, you know, the Con Air. I liked Con Air. and Face Off.
I mean, what was great is Face Off made $0.7 million more.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say $0.7 million.
Well, they made $245 million.
Oh, my goodness. That's crazy.
But,
all right. Well, we got to take a quick break for a couple of few, and we'll be right back here on the Ticket Stub with Connor and Dick, IR, LoneStar.com, 104.5 and 106.1.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app from your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That's Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. If you are on the computer, bookmark irlonestar.com as your internet radio station. A Lone Star Community Radio. Broadcasting 24/7 from the heart of downtown Conroe, Texas.
I've been forgetting. I came up with a name for our listeners, Dick. You don't like when I do these things, I don't think. Can we call the people that listen the Stub Nation?
Yeah, sure.
I don't think you like
The Stubbers.
Oh, the Stubbers. Stubbies.
You can turn on your mic when you talk. I'm just letting you know.
The Stubbies.
It's awkward when you're doing that.
The Stubbies.
The Stubbies. That's
Stubbies.
great.
Okay, Stubbies. Okay, well, my idea doesn't get accepted, but it brings about the final idea, which
Well,
I'm
I can
okay
never
with.
give you the satisfaction. That's the truth. I can never give anyone the satisfaction.
Yeah, you have to correct it. You're that guy. You default to no. Your first answer is always no. Okay, Stubbies. All right, Stubbies. Here we go. Glad to have you back. We do want to say that last week we had a little contest to win some tickets to Taste Fest.
is tonight.
It's tonight. Yeah, Taste Fest 2017 tonight in Conroe. Our buddy Clifton Wolgamuth, friend of the show, he won that competition by answering our trivia question. You can go back and listen to last week's episode. You can hear the trivia question.
Win the tickets.
You can't win the tickets, but you could still come to Taste Fest.
Yeah.
You could pay for the tickets.
It's worth it. If you don't know what it is, basically the Lake Conroe Chamber of Commerce puts it on every year, and it features all the local restaurants in the area. It's one ticket price to try all the food and get 2 drinks, adult drinks. I think it's $25 at the door. And I'm sure you can probably still get them online for cheaper. But
yeah. So Dick will be there wearing a red rose in his lapel if you want to come.
If you want to meet me at the southeast exit, and I will be there.
He'll be waiting
with my face full of food.
So. Exactly. You can come bother him about all the bad movies that he likes. But so anyways, we'll try to do some more things like that over the next weeks and months, which will have some opportunities for y'all to win some swag, because I know that's one thing that's kind of fun. It makes the show a little bit more interactive. But we've got our blockbuster competition, our summer blockbuster competition.
How about a T-shirt that says "I'm a stubby"?
Oh wow!
I think everyone would like to have a T-shirt
Who wouldn't
like that. We'll just make it real simple. It's just a white T-shirt with black lettering. I'm a stubby.
Apparently that's our graphic. Yeah, I'm a stubby for life. LYFE. Yeah. We can't do it. All right. Anyways, let's get back on topic here. Summer blockbusters.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah. It's go time. It is go time for summer blockbusters.
I'm surprised. Oh, I guess Guardians of the Galaxy dethroned Fate.
Guardians. I called it last week. You naysayed.
I did.
Guardians dethroned Fate of the Furious. Fate of the Furious got $97 million opening weekend. Guardians came in, took the title belt for the heavyweights, $146.5 million.
Yeah.
Just in America opening weekend.
You can go see it locally at all the theaters. Both of those movies are still in theaters. So the Grand, and you got
Star Cinema,
and you got Tinseltown. They're all available.
Even Market Street. Market Street has at least Guardians still. Fate may be out of Market Street by now, but Guardians, man, I really think they owe that to their marketing. They did a great job marketing Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think it's such a fun movie that it appeals to everybody.
Yeah,
it appeals to really kind of any group of people. So for now, Guardians has the belt. They are the heavyweight champ, but can it last?
Man, I don't even want to guess anymore because I'm probably gonna be wrong.
I think it's gonna last. I don't think that King Arthur Legend, although I will be giving my $10 to King Arthur Legend of the Sword this weekend, I don't think that it's going to have enough to make $146
pretty
million.
bad. So far, it's gotten really bad reviews.
For those that don't know, King Arthur, it's got Charlie Hunnam from Lost City of Z, which we talked about last week, and he's been in Pacific Rim, among other things. Jude Law, he's been in a lot of movies, most of which I haven't seen.
Directed by Guy Ritchie, which is important.
Directed by Guy Ritchie, who's, a huge director. He's done a lot of things over time, and he's always got kind of a gritty feel to his movies, I think. And this one kind of has that same look to it where it's definitely interesting looking.
Eric Bana is in it. They didn't really show him in the trailer.
Yeah, okay, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, there's some really big actors in it. One of my favorite actors, I can't pronounce his first name, is Jamon.
Oh, the bald black dude.
Honsu. Yeah, that guy was in Gladiator. He was in Amistad.
He's been Fast
I feel
7.
like he doesn't age.
Yeah, thinking about Gladiator, that was a long time ago.
That was probably 1999.
And he looks the same.
He's exactly the same. And he's a really great actor too. He's almost like a character actor. If anytime you need a serious person who looks like he's lethal, you need that guy.
Yeah, but he's the guy who's perfect for like 9 minutes of the movie. Yeah. Like he doesn't need to carry the load, but you bring him in like he's like a little bit of paprika. You sprinkle him on there, and it makes it taste a whole lot better, right?
But the whole movie looks good. The fact that Eric Bana slid in there, no one really knew, and then of course Aidan Gillen, who's from King of Thrones. I think that's Littlefinger.
King of Thrones.
Or whatever that movie's
You're
called.
like a grandpa sometimes. Have you watched this show, The Seinfeld?
No, that's why Cindy and I get along so well.
little TV show called King of Thrones. Yeah, Game of Thrones is what it's
This
actually.
is Littlefinger, right?
Littlefinger, yeah, is his character's name. But anyways, so we'll see. I'm excited about King Arthur, even though I don't think it's going to be received very well. But I'm going to be there.
Well, the one question I have to ask people is like, why do they keep telling the same story? Now, adding Guy Ritchie as a director creates an interesting. I mean, he made Sherlock Holmes a little different.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it's going to take to get people to be excited about older stories.
Well, I think for some of it, it's like it takes so much to get the concept out there, but people already know King Arthur, so it's not that hard to get someone to buy into a King Arthur movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't if there was some other dude from another time and you're trying to get people to buy into that storyline, it's like you're starting from scratch with product awareness almost, but when you rehash these known entities, at least when you say, and they're doing it with weird stuff like Chips, like who cares about Chips, but they remade that movie. Now that flopped because nobody cares. But I think that's their mentality is like, let's just rehash all this old stuff that at least people know about. Even if they didn't like it back in the day, they at least have heard of it. So we don't have to start from square one. We've got some foot through the door here. But we'll see. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. And then in the lightweight, The Circle, favorite of the show, Emma Watson, right?
Yeah.
That may become a thing, like that she's just our girl, Emma Watson. Yeah, Dick loves Emma Watson, but it's still raining. It's still raining at 9.6 million in the lightweight. The Dinner was released with Richard Gere and Laura Linney, made $655,000. So it will.
That's
not.
Probably a slow, small release, a limited release. I mean,
yeah,
it's got to be.
It was around. It was in Market Street. It got, but not like Tinseltown or the Grand. Yeah. So yeah, it's a more limited release. But it's not threatening. I do think that this week there's an Amy Schumer comedy with Goldie Hawn called Snatched that's coming out. It was a little bit of a lower budget movie, and so we're going to put that in the lightweight. We'll see. I think that has a really good chance of beating The Circle because I think Amy Schumer has a lot of.
She pulls she'll pull audiences in.
I think so. Even though, I just don't have any time. I just can't care about politics anymore. And she's on either side, and she's so political. Like I follow her on Instagram, and it's just like. Ugh. Here we go.
I think everyone's really tired of it.
I'm so tired of everything. That's why I just watch movies. Because you know what? They're pure. Sports and movies. Go Rockets, by the way. All right, so we'll see if Snatched can beat The Circle. We'll see if King Arthur, Legend of the Sword can beat Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm excited to check back in with those. This summer blockbuster thing, it's definitely growing on me, Dick. Every week I'm kind of getting more.
Yeah. Like I want to see The Wall. That's the movie I want to see this weekend.
So would that qualify for the Big Daddy? Or
it's a limited release this weekend, so
probably small.
It's gonna be small. It's because I don't think it's all about how much money really the movie costs to make.
Yeah.
And then we kind of have the final.
And then we kind of make it up. But yeah, The Wall's got John Cena.
Yeah, John Cena's in it. Aaron Taylor Johnson, and then basically it's just about them two. They're snipers in the desert.
And they get pinned down.
And one gets shot, so another guy gets pinned down behind a wall that's like basically a standalone wall in the middle of the desert. It looks like.
Yeah, thanks for building that. Whoever did that, right?
So, well, for him, yeah, because he's surviving.
Otherwise, it'd be called The Flat Ground, and that's not as exciting.
I think it's Phone Booth, the movie Phone Booth, but in the desert. That's what I'm thinking. That's what it is.
Okay, good call. So. Yeah, from the trailer, the one trailer I saw, that feels about right. All right, so next week, looking ahead, we're about to wrap the show up. We've got an interview next week that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it pans out, but there's a guy named Shea Serrano. He is a sports writer for a website called The Ringer. He has written a book called The Rap Year Book. He's coming out with a new book called Basketball and Other Things. He's a pretty cool dude.
What does that have to do with movies?
Well, he also loves and writes and talks a lot about movies.
Okay, good. I'm just making sure. I was like, man, when do we become a talk show or a sports show?
No, but we're gonna
I won't know anything.
But we're gonna bring him on, and we're gonna talk about sports movies.
Oh,
so you may need to watch
perfect.
1 or 2 sports movies before.
So I told you, rollerball. Rollerball with LL Cool J. Let's see.
I guess Yip Man can maybe be a sport. Karate's kind of a sport. Basketball. So,
Field of Dreams. Have you ever seen Field of Dreams?
Yeah, I have.
Remember the Titans? Have you ever seen that? That's one everybody's seen. Remember the Titans. That can be your default.
I've seen it.
I'll let you take that one. But we're going to hopefully have him on. I think we've worked that out to talk a little bit about some sports movies.
Happy Gilmore. That's a sports
There
movie,
you go.
right?
See, okay, now you're talking. See, you know some. And we're going to continue the summer blockbuster contest next week. What's in my queue? No, Dick, you've already said what movie you're watching this week,
and
right?
I would like to see In Trust, and I'd like to see the Manchester by the Sea on Amazon.
Yeah, definitely. Manchester, no, just get your mind right for that.
I don't want to see it, but I have to see it because that's what we encourage. This podcast is encouraging people to check out movies that
they haven't seen.
Don't want to. I mean, why would you want to watch a depressing movie?
Well, dude, it just, I feel like it makes you.
I feel like my time is worth more than that. Like to watch someone slowly kill themselves.
Your time is worth so much. Nicolas Cage trust is what your time is worth.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever.
I could go to YouTube, type in Nicolas Cage freak out compilation, and it's every freak out he's had, and these people put up music to it, and it is hilarious.
You know what I rewatched on YouTube the other day was that video of the grape lady who falls over. It's still funny, man. 10 years later, still funny. Okay, in my queue for next week, I'm watching a movie called Lars and the Real Girl.
Yeah,
it's only
I've
available
seen
on iTunes. Ryan Gosling. I think he kind of goes crazy and buys like a fake girl doll that he pretends is real and his girlfriend.
Disassociated with life.
Yeah, he kind of. I think. I don't know. I don't really know much about it, but I'm excited to watch it. One of the things I like about this show, Dick, is it's making me watch. I say I'm going to watch these movies, and then I have to by next week, or I feel
just say I do and I don't. I mean, but again, like I said, I'm the one bringing down the show.
Well, I know. I mean, I've got integrity and whatever. Yeah. So. All right. Well, I think we're wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Another great week here on the Ticket Stub. Man,
Yeah.
I'm excited about next week with the interview. I'm excited. I'm telling you, every week I start checking the Box Office Mojo like on Monday because I want to see who won and what happened. And I don't know. I don't see
why Fate lost. I had so much money riding on Fate. It's probably gonna make the most money overall.
I bet it will. Worldwide, yeah. I bet Fate goes number 1. But as far as the opening weekend, which is what our whole competition is on, Guardians took it. I think that's going to be 146 million. That's going to be a hard number to beat. But we'll see as the summer unfolds. So, anyways, that's what's coming up next week. We've done a lot of great things. Please comment on our Facebook. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on SoundCloud, on podcast Stitcher,
Facebook,
irlonestar.com.
I'm not giving you my cell phone number.
Dick's cell phone is. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even know your cell phone number, Dick.
We don't even talk to each other.
We're not friends. It's all pretend.
We're actually gonna bump into each other at the movie theater. Oh, what are you doing here?
Oh, hey, buddy. Anyways, all right, great show. Thanks for everything, and we will catch you next week here on the Ticket Stub with Connor and Dick.
Let's begin, pal.
Thanks for listening to the Ticket Stub. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at the Ticket Stub Podcast, our YouTube channel, the Ticket Stub, or send us listener email to the ticketstubpodcast@gmail.com. We also have all of our podcasts available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. If you're in the Conroe area, be sure to tune in live every Thursday at 104.5 and 106.1 FM to hear it as it happens and interact live with the show. See you next time.